StrayAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unified philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is, we are in part 4 of our 4-part series, finale of our series, which is on how to change. Now, before we get into this, 2 things. First of all, daily motivation, Monday motivation messages guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day or your week, respectively. All you got to do is text me at my number 305-384-6894. Once we reactivate and start sending those messages again, you'll be getting those straight to your phone. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That is a place where you get access directly to me as your coach, where you can get access to all of our trainings and courses from inside the university, like Bulletproof Mindset, 30 Days of Discipline to Work on Your Game System, Sell Yourself Framework, Business Builder Framework, and more. That is all at workonyourgameuniversity.com. If you want to have me as your direct coach, that is the place that it happens. That link is down below in the description to this episode as well. With that out of the way, let's pick it up right where we left off, which is again part 4 of our 4-part series on how to change. Picking up on point number 10, habit stacking. So habits run 85% of human life. Each individual human, 85% of your life is run by your habits. For some people, even more than that. For people who don't do so much conscious thinking, then it's closer to 100% of their life is run by habits. And those you do a lot of conscious thinking, still, you only do about 15% conscious thinking. The other 85% is run by your habits. The good news is you can consciously change your habits. So most of what we do, as I said, is done by habit, even when you're not consciously aware. That's kind of the definition of it. Habits, things that are happening you're not even thinking about, but you're doing them anyway. Therefore, if you want to change your life, what you need to change is not your conscious actions, but your habits. Does that make sense? If you understand that 85% of your life is run by habit and you want to make change, the biggest change you can make then is not in the 15% of the stuff that you know you're thinking about, but in the 85% of the stuff that you don't even realize that you're thinking about, which means you got to get conscious about the unconscious, and that's how you change your habits. I talk about this in my book, Work on Your Game, which you can get at workonyourgamebook.com. And when you start changing multiple habits all at the same time, all right, this will be uncomfortable, by the way, and you change multiple habits at the same time, this is how you can start making rapid changes in a very short period of time. So if any of you want to make rapid changes in a very short period of time, here's what you need to do. You need to change multiple habits at the same time. And again, this will be uncomfortable, but it will produce results. That's the trade-off of producing results, is that there is discomfort that comes along the way. If you think you're going to create massive results in your life in a short period of time with no discomfort, that's not going to happen. Impossible. One thing I've noticed about people is that human beings tend to be lazy. I've mentioned this before. People are lazy, they don't think, and they don't read. Those are 3 things that are generally true about most human beings. It is also that when it comes to changing habits, most people would like to do things slowly and at a comfortable pace, usually doing one thing at a time, i.e., changing one habit at a time. I will submit to you that this is a bad idea for several reasons. All right. I strongly suggest that if you are serious about making change in your life, that you should change a bunch of things all at the same time. As long as you know that there are several things that need to change, don't change them one at a time. Change them all at once, all of them. And again, this will be uncomfortable, but uncomfortable does not mean bad for you. And this is where a lot of people get it confused. A lot of people think if something's uncomfortable, that means you shouldn't do it. No, if something's uncomfortable, that's often a sign that you should do it, depending on the source of the discomfort. If you're doing something that is a change that was recommended to you somehow, some way by someone who knows what they're doing or has what you want to have in a certain aspect of life, the discomfort is a sign that you're doing the right thing, especially if you are changing from something that is not serving you and hopefully to something that is serving you. You make a change to a habit that has not been serving you and you feel uncomfortable in the process, good. That's exactly how it's supposed to feel. Because when you stop doing something that's not serving you, it is going to fight tooth and nail to keep you doing the thing that you've always done. So any of you has ever broken a bad habit, it feels uncomfortable to break the bad habit. Have you ever talked to someone or seen someone who was going through a rehab program, whether it was, let's say, something physical rehab? They were addicted to porn, or they were addicted to alcohol, or they were addicted to a drug. When they're going through the rehab, what do they deal with? They deal with withdrawal symptoms. What is a withdrawal symptom? A withdrawal symptom is when you are withdrawing yourself from a physical habit and your subconscious mind then works in conjunction with your body, and it starts sending you a ton of discomfort to let you know we are very uncomfortable with the fact that you are no longer giving us the thing that you have made us used to and grow accustomed to having, i.e., that alcohol, i.e., that drug you kept taking. That is what a withdrawal symptom is. I feel very uncomfortable because I'm used to giving myself this drug, and my body is screaming at me and signaling its alarm system because it is demanding that I give it the drug the way that I have been every day for the last 8 years. So, of course, you feel uncomfortable. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. And your job, or the job of the program, rather, it's not even your job, but the job of the program is to help you through the discomfort. It's not to alleviate the discomfort, it's to help you through the discomfort so that you can see that you have the power to deal with that discomfort and get off of that thing that had been destroying you up to that point. And the pain of getting off the thing that was destroying you is stronger than the pain of actually staying on it and letting it slowly beat you up. Because see, if you're addicted to a drug or addicted to alcohol, it slowly kills you. It takes decades and years, or years and decades, to kill you. Whereas if you get off of it, the period of withdrawal feels more painful in the moment than the ongoing death that you're giving yourself if you were to just stay on the thing. And this is the reason why a lot of people can start rehab, but they don't finish it, because of the discomfort of the disconnect between the habit and the new you that's on the other side of that bridge, or the other side of that chasm. It's not even a bridge, it's a chasm, because you got to jump over there. You can't walk over there, you got to jump. And the jump is uncomfortable because you might not make it. You know what's in between two cliffs? All right, the ravine. All right, that's also known as death. That's where you die down there. And buzzards and what's the other bird called? Vultures will just pick your bones clean and eat you while you slowly die, or after you're already dead. So the discomfort, folks, of getting off the old habit and moving into the new habit, all right, that discomfort is what keeps a lot of people from changing. And I just told you, most people don't think, don't read, and they're lazy. Most people are too lazy to deal with that pain, that discomfort, because it's much easier to just stay where you are. Yeah, this is why I can comfortably assert, most people do not change. Most people, even if they do want to make a change, even if someone was to be an anomaly and decide that they want to make a change, you know what happens? They want to make their changes slowly. And why do people want to change slowly? And why do people want to do things one at a time and slowly? Why is this? Why am I so confident in saying these things? I'm confident in saying these things. At the same time, I'll explain to you why this is, because doing things slowly and doing things one at a time are both comfortable. If you tell me I got to change, you come to me and say, Dre, you got to make some changes. And you list out all the changes. It's like 17 changes. Dre, you got to make these 17 changes. Okay. You can do them one at a time. All right. That's easy for me. I can make changes one at a time. I would rather change them all at the same time, though, because I'm the one even sitting here explaining to you. Because once I decide that I'm going to make a change, I want to make that change like that day. That's just the way I am. I have this, I guess you could call it impulsive, if you want to call it that. Let's just call it impulsive. I just have this impulsive way of thinking that. And once I decide that I'm changing something, I want to change it that day. I want to wait like a week. I don't want to wait 3 weeks. Like if I move from one place to another, and once I sign the paperwork to move to the other place, I just start mentally withdrawing from the current place. Like, even if I can't move for another 30 days, like I want to get out of this place because I already decided to move to the other place. So mentally, I'm already in the new place and I still got 30 days left in the old place. I don't like that. I like to be able to just move it right there on the spot. I don't like to have to wait to make change. I want to do it right there, especially if I have reason to believe that this change is going to help me. And most of the time, when we change voluntarily, we're doing changes because we want to. We chose to, right? So most people want to do things slowly, one at a time. That's a bad idea because if you're serious about making change, all the changes at once give you multiple benefits. Now, I told you the hard part about it. Here's the good part. One is you're respecting your limited amount of time. So when you do things slowly, you're making an unconscious bet that you have enough time to do everything slowly, which is not a guarantee because you might run out of time. Well, you might die. Right, so how can you do things slowly as if you have time? You don't. So you should make changes in your life as if you don't have time. All right. So the more changes you can make all at the same time, the more of the other side of that mountain you can experience before you run out of time, i.e., before you die. Secondly, you can take all the discomfort that comes with breaking your inertia and do it all in one shot instead of dragging it out over an extended period of time. See, every change you make is going to require a little bit of discomfort. So if you need to make 7 changes, you might as well deal with all 7 forms of discomfort all at once and get it all taken care of at one time rather than dealing with a little bit of discomfort 7 different times independently. Again, those stretch out time as well as stretching out the discomfort. I say just deal with it all at once. Why not? Why not? Just deal with it all at once. Because again, the most important factor here, folks, is time. What's the most valuable resource you have? Your time. Because when you run out of it, the game's over. You can run out of everything else. You can be dead broke with no energy, no focus, and not able to pay attention to anything and come back tomorrow. All right, you run out of time, you're dead. They call it, what they do tomorrow, they're scheduling your friends and family. If then you got any left, all right, they're scheduling your funeral. It's over. You run out of the other four things, you're good. 5 forms of investment, folks: time, money, attention, energy, focus. Only one of them you can run out of and you can't come back. All the rest of them you can come back. So while you build the habit to drop your ice cream eating habit, you might as well also habit stat. Also, let's drop the Netflix habit of 4 hours a day. And let's also drop the habit of hanging out with those drug addict buddies that you've been chilling with for the last 6 months. And how about you hire that personal trainer who will bring new habits to you? And finally, finish writing that book that you've been working on for 6 years and you only finished half of a chapter. Why not do all of it all at the same time? All right, why we got to wait? Why do we need to spread it out? There's no reason to spread it out. Let's do it all at once. Point number 11. Today's topic, once again, is how to change. We are finishing up our 3-part series. Number 11, deadlines. What is a deadline? Everybody knows what a deadline is. It's a certain point in time by which things must be done. That's what a deadline is. I did a 3-part series on why you need deadlines. Episode number 29, 31, 32, and 33. Also talked about deadlines and pressure in episode number 3002. Deadlines create time pressure, ladies and gentlemen. That's what a deadline is. A deadline is simple time pressure. You must have this done by this time or else. You know you need to get something done within a time frame. The reason people move slowly and get things done slowly is because we give ourselves unlimited time frames in which to get things done. This is a very, very, very bad idea. All of us are guilty of it at times. I would suggest you become less guilty of it less often. Everybody does it. Now, all of us have times when we do stuff and we just take as long as we take to get it done. Doesn't mean that we necessarily go slow, but at the same time, doesn't mean that we're going fast. Because if we have no deadline to do something, then there's no pressure to move faster. And guess what? If you had a deadline to do everything, you would do everything a little bit faster. That would, all of a sudden, you would have more time in your day. And thus, more time in your life. And thus, you can get more life out of your life. Doesn't it all make sense? I talked about this in episode number 2648, how to get more life out of your life. One way is to give yourself time pressure. A deadline is a form of time pressure. People who get more things done tend to give themselves less time to get it done. Let me say that again, just in case you didn't catch it. People who get more things done tend to give themselves less time to get stuff done. All right, these people who get more things done, let me tell you some things about them. They are not stronger than you. They're not faster than you. They're not smarter than you. And they are not necessarily more disciplined than you, at least not wholesale more disciplined than you. I tend to be a very disciplined person just in general, but me getting more things done than you get done is not necessarily because of my discipline. It's simply because the systems and the processes I have in place, deadlines being one of them, put me in a position to where I am not giving myself a choice to take my time. And you, if you don't have those in place, well, you're giving yourself a choice. And if you give yourself a choice, usually you take the easier one because human beings by nature are lazy. Again, and I'm too. I am a human being as well. I am lazy by nature. Therefore, if I don't put parameters in place that force me to get certain things done within certain time frames, I will be just as slow and lazy as anybody else. Difference is I made the decision, keyword decision, which cuts off every other option to not do that. And guess what? That decision is available to you as well. People who get more things done tend to give themselves less time. They are not stronger, faster, smarter, or even that much more disciplined than you. They do have that one discipline that I just explained. They simply use a structure. Using structures is a form of discipline, by the way, that helps them get more done while you are not using a structure, and therefore you get less done. Magic formula. People who get more done use a structure that forces them to get stuff done. You thought it was more complex than that, huh? It's not. Things are really simple in life when you break them down the right way. You have someone like myself here to break them down for you and give it back to you in a very simplistic style. This is one of my superpowers, by the way. This is the reason why I'm here to help you understand this. You need to start giving yourself parameters and allow yourself to be pressured by these parameters, also known as deadlines, because you will get more done when there is a deadline than if there's not a deadline. Simple as that. Does everybody understand this? How many of you have something that you need to get done that you know exactly what needs to be done and you know how to do it, but you're simply taking your time doing it because there is no pressure on you to do it? Every one of you listening to me is guilty of this. Okay, I just told you what to do about it. Point number 12. Today's topic, once again, we are on our last part of our 4-part series on how to change. Number 12, declutter your spaces. Everybody knows what clutter is, right? It's just a whole bunch of extra shit laying around in your spaces. I'm telling you to declutter your spaces. All right, make your space look like somebody actually lives there, and declutter it. Clean up your spaces. Now, I mean this both on the mental side and the physical side. Let me explain. See, things that you are holding in your head. Let's say you have a bunch of ideas or thoughts or things you're supposed to remember all in your head. I would suggest, here's one way to declutter, very simple. Write those things down so that your subconscious mind is not trying to remember them all the time. This will create more space in your brain. You want more space in your mind. Better I say your mind than your brain. You want more space in your mind. Take things that you are holding in your head and write them down somewhere, even if it's just for your eyes to see, such that your mind understands subconsciously that, okay, I emptied my mind of that idea, of those thoughts. I see that they're written down. Now I don't have to hold on to them anymore. And you have cleaned up space in the random access memory of your mind. Those of you know how computers work, you understand what I mean by random access memory. That's basically your working memory. Any of you who's ever used a computer, you remember back in the days, and it still happens these days, I hear from some people that if you have too many tabs open and too much stuff going on your computer all at the same time, the computer will freeze. Why does a computer freeze? It's because you are overloading its RAM. The RAM stands for random access memory. Random access memory is basically the amount of capacity your computer has to do multiple things in its brain, so to speak, all at the same time. And if you give it too much, you overload it, it freezes. That's the same thing that happens to your brain when you give it too many things to remember all at the same time. Good news for you as a human is you can take things that are in your head and write them down, so they are now documented, and your subconscious mind sees you writing it down, and now it realizes it doesn't have to hold on to it anymore, and therefore you are freeing up space. You get what I'm saying here? This is a form of mental decluttering. This is mental feng shui, so to speak. And those of you familiar with that concept, about basically cleaning out your space by throwing a bunch of garbage in the trash. All right, I'm very much simplifying it, but get my point. All right, when you write things down, your subconscious mind understands it doesn't have to hold it anymore. If there's something on your mind in terms of a conversation that needs to happen, get that person on the phone and have the conversation. So now you don't have to think about it anymore. Stop allowing things to fester and sit forever. All right, when it comes to your physical space, clean it up. Simple as that. Clean up your physical space. Everything has a place, and there's a place for everything. Put things where they belong. All right. So in your house, your office, your car, your locker, any other space that belongs to you, clean it up. Again, make it look like someone actually lives there. Make it look neat and look like a human being has been in this space sometime in the last 3 years. A cluttered physical space is a reflection of a cluttered mind. And they say a clear space is a reflection of a clear mind. But some people flip this around and say, well, empty space means what? It means you have an empty mind. I say clear your spaces. Clear your spaces so you don't have too much clutter around. Now, it's not clutter if you're actually using it. If it's there for a reason and it's serving a purpose, then it's not clutter. But if it's just there and there is a space for it and it's not in that space, then you have clutter, and that's a reflection of laziness. And again, all of this is building up gunk in your subconscious mind and slowing you down from doing other things you need to do. So I submit to you, clear your spaces up. Clear out your mental space, clear up your physical space. Now, with that said, let's recap today's class. This is part 4 of our 4-part series on how to change. Number 10, habit stacking. Multiple habits all at the same time. You want to change multiple things, and you know you need to change multiple things. Don't do them slow and don't do them one at a time. Do them fast and do them all at the same time. Yes, it will be uncomfortable. Yes, it will be uncomfortable. Yes, it will be uncomfortable. I'm saying do it anyway. The discomfort is the trade-off of change. If you're not willing to get uncomfortable, you're not willing to change, and you're not serious, which means you shouldn't have listened to this last 4 episodes. Number 11, deadlines. Deadlines are a form of time pressure, which force you to get certain things done within a certain frame of time. This reflects a respect for your most precious resource and your only limited resource, which is time. Every other resource you can get in abundance. You cannot get time in abundance. So when you use deadlines, you are respecting the fact that your time is indeed limited. Every human being on this planet will eventually die as of current science. Therefore, deadlines are a reflection of your respect for that truth. Number 12, declutter your spaces. This applies to your mental space. Write things down and get them out of your head so that your mental RAM is cleared up, and also your physical spaces. All right. Put things where they belong. Put your clothes away. Don't leave stuff hanging all over your desk. Get trash that needs to be thrown away. If you're not using it anymore, get rid of it. If it's been sitting around for 6 months and you haven't used it and it's taking up space, throw it in the garbage. All right. Most people throw a whole bunch of stuff away when they move from one living space to another. Why? Because we finally have to address and assess these things. But on our day-to-day lives, we got a whole bunch of junk laying around. We do nothing about it. I would suggest you get that mentality every single day and start throwing garbage out and clearing out your spaces. All that said, folks, make sure you go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can have me there as your direct coach. You can get on live coaching calls directly with me where I will personally address your challenges, issues, supply you answers to your questions, replace some of your questions with better quality questions, and I will coach you along the way from where you are to where you want to be in your personal and your professional journey. That's workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all